HQL Hibernate query language. We just wrote a simple HQL from user, that's all. Till now we wrote. We'll try to write complex HQL queries also. Okay. So first what I'll do is right now I'll go through the one of the presentation here. I'll show you through presentation various ways of querying. Then we'll work on the examples parallelly. I have shared these PPTs also already in the CD. Before going ahead with understanding SQL, what I want to do now is I'll show you a query. In the presentation, we'll try to find the same query also here and see the results. In Eclipse, we have something called as a SQL editor, by using which we can fire a SQL editor and see the results there itself. We need not write a program now just for firing SQLs. Right? It will be very convenient to use SQL editor while writing SQL queries. Once the SQL query is successful here, once you are able to see the result, you can copy the same SQL query in your code also, right? Okay, now let us see how to use SQL editor. Okay, now I will give a simple example now for firing all the queries in my presentation, similar queries on my presentation. I will share you some classes, write some classes exactly like that and annotate them. Then we will see how to fire queries on them before we start learning SQL. Okay. I'm going to first I'll create a new project. New project. SQL queries. SQL demo. Then here, right now I'll copy paste some classes. You just type exactly similar to it. First create a package, com.infinite. Then I'm dragging this to product and supplier. I'll explain you what is this classes. These are just some classes. One supplier is having list of products and one product is having one supplier, and these are the fields for products. So we can fire various queries on the same product and supplier. Configure one-to-many relationship. One-to-many means from supplier end, if I see it is one-to-many relationship bidirectional, right? So first create these classes, supplier and product. Then annotate using, write the annotations for mapping it. Then we'll start writing the queries. Start writing annotations. Product is an entity, so annotate it with entity. If I don't give table annotation, by default class name will be assumed to be the table name. Okay, right now let it be the same table name, product. For ID I will generate primary key automatically. ID, generated value, then column annotation. Name is equals to product underscore ID, I'll say. Okay. And supplier field represent which type of relationship, tell me? One to many or many to one? Many to one. So annotate it with many to one. Foreign key should go Many side or one side? Many side. So here I will annotate it with join column. Name is equals to what? Name on the other side. What is it? Product ID, right? Sorry, this is product, that is supplier ID. The primary key on the other side, right? That will coming as a foreign key here, right? That's it, we configured product side, and by default I am not giving column annotation for name, description, price. Variable name will be same as the column name. Now I will configure supplier. Supplier also is an entity, so I will annotate it with entity. Then the table name, that will be same as supplier. I will annotate this primary key with ID, generated value, and column. Name is equals to supplier underscore ID. Then coming to list, it is one side. This is a field which is representing one to many relationship. So annotate it with one to many. And do I need to write the mapping when it is a bidirectional relationship? I should make this as an inverse side. So I have to make it as mapped by is equals to the property on which there is annotation here, supplier. So whenever it is a bidirectional relationship, we only configure foreign key on the many side. On the one side we say mapped by. No need to specify the join column here. That's all done. For list we need a order column. Okay, so we need to annotate it with order column. I'll say product underscore index. Name is equals to product underscore index. Yes. If we are not using generics, like if I can say list of product. If I don't say like this, then one more thing I need to do. In the one to many, I have to say comma target entity is equals to product dot class. Right. I need not specify target entity if I am using generic list. Any both are same. Better always to use generic list only, right? Okay, I will make it as generic list. I will make it as list of products. Just copy hibernate.cfg.xml from anywhere. And tell about this classes. Remove this mapping resource and write mapping class. You write the two classes, product and supplier. Com dot infinite dot products and also supplier. Once this is done, I will show you how to open HQL editor. Now right click on the source and say new other Hibernate console configuration. This will configure the Hibernate console where we can see the results of HQL queries. Okay, take Hibernate console configuration. Next, it will automatically give you project name is HQL demo and the configuration name is same as project name. It's asking what is the type. Is it using Hibernate core or annotations? We are using annotations. So select annotations, and it's asking for configuration file. It will get the session factory configuration from this file, right? Let all the defaults be taken. Just only change here to take annotations, then finish. That's all. We created a console configuration, right? Now switch your perspective to Hibernate perspective. You should be able to see here Hibernate configuration. And you should be able to see HQL demo here. Now expand it. Here you can expand the configuration. You should be able to see whatever classes we have configured, product and supplier. Right click on the product, HQL editor. Here you can see the HQL editor, and you just open the dynamic SQL preview. Now select this and run it. For the first time it will ask, do you want to open the session factory? Yes. If it opens session factory, it will make a connection to database also. Yes. Okay. Yes. Now you should be getting grammar exceptions, right? The problem is there are no tables in the database, right? So let us create some tables on the data, these same tables in database, and insert some few basic values so that we can see the results of our queries also, right? Okay, come back to our package. Create a demo. Take main, then just do a very simple thing for now to create the classes. If I build the session factory, will the tables be automatically generated? Yes. Just building session factory is sufficient. Right now, to make it simple, I will build session factory, then we will proceed with queries. Okay, I will not insert, we will see the queries, generated queries itself. New annotation configuration, dot configure dot build session factory, a single line. That's it. Now run it. Tables should be created automatically. Go to the database and check. Tables are they created? Yes, product table is created and supplier table also is created. Okay, now you go and go to HQL editor, go to your Hibernate perspective. Then run this query. Yes, now you are able to see, you should be able to see the generated query here. Right? Is it firing select query from table, right? Selecting all columns, right? Just created an annotation configuration dot configure dot build session factory. This will build a session factory and it will create all the tables. After we entered some dummy data inside product and supplier, we will start firing simple queries first. As you see, from product, if I run it now, it should give you the query and also the result. Result it's not showing. It's not showing product. Did I save it? Again I save it. You should be able to see the product here. This is the SQL which is generated. Maybe I think it was not recognizing the changes. Just I'll say from product P, I want only the product names. Select P dot name from product. It's just looking like SQL only. Run it. Now also I didn't get any result, right? This is the query. I'll just fire the select query. I'm getting here. Okay, I think I'll go here. Rebuild configuration, I'll say. Yeah, now I got the two products. Just rebuild the configuration, that's it. Now I got the two products. If I select this, see, you are able to see the values here. ID 1, description Samsung mobile, Corby, price, right? And its supplier is 1001 X. One product is having one supplier, right? You are able to see product here. Okay? What? You can now give just from product simply. No. Because after entering data, I refreshed. Now I want only the product names simply. So it's just like SQL. If I say from product, I'll get list of products. Once I fire the query.list, if I say, I'll get list of products. Now I will say select P dot first product P, you give alias, select P dot name comma P dot price. If you run this query, yep, see, I am getting, after I run the query.list, if in the API, what I will do, session.create query, I will pass the query one while writing the code. Query.list, I will get a list, right? So that list will be having lot of rows, 2 rows here in this case. Each entry inside the list is nothing but an array. 0th element of the array is p.name. First element of the array is p.price. So when I fire a query by using columns in a select query, this is called as projection. Projection, right? When we are using projections, then the list will contain an array. The query.list, if I fire, I will get a list that is nothing but an array of each thing. First element of the array will be name and second element of the array will be price. So that's why you are seeing 0 and 1. 0th element of the array, first element of the array, right? Now I want to these to be displayed in descending order of the name. Order by p dot name ascending. Now if I run it, FC compact became first and Corby became next. Now see the generated query order by, it's exactly looking same like SQL order by. You can order by ascending or you can order by descending. No, star will not. We can say p dot star, let us see. If I say p dot star, why star? If I, that is equivalent to from product. Now if I run it, I am getting list of products. List is containing 2 products. Product objects. It is an object oriented query language, right? Now I want to print average of prices group by name, right? Okay, you are not getting the result. Just like this you wrote. Run it. What is it saying? Is it an exception? Now I want average of prices. So avg of p dot price from product group by p dot name and order by p dot name descending. Now I will run it. So I got it. See the generated query. Select product name, average, same. Here now in this case it is working till now. There was not much difference between HQL and SQL. Almost we are writing SQL syntax is only till now. Now you can say having also, group by having p dot name like percentage C. Having. See now it will print. Where is this? Like I think what I have. Yeah, it's working there. I think I didn't select that. No, I got, but I didn't get any result. I showed I'm expecting p dot name like percentage. Oh, C percentage. Sorry. C percentage. Now we should get both. So we use the group by and having. It's exactly looking like similar to SQL. Not much differences, right? Okay, we'll come back to this point. Let us see how to use the Hibernate query API. First we'll go through the presentation for some time and again come to queries and execute some complex queries. Till now we execute some simple queries. FC here, we have done this already. There are 3 ways of querying: by using HQL, Hibernate query language, or by using criteria API, or by using query by example. Of course, query by example is a part of criteria API only. Now we are going to understand only how to fire SQL queries. After this we will see criteria API. Right? Here in this PPT, just ignore this one. We have a separate presentation for criteria. See here, this is a way to create a query. This we did already. Done. How to create pagination? Just see this one. This is using criteria. See this one. Pagination. Pagination means I want only first 10 results. Create query from users, order by user.name as an English we have done already. This may result 100 rows also. But if I am interested in only first 10 rows, I can say set max results as 10. And if I say query.list, I will get list of size 10. And also, I want the results from 30 to 40. Right? The results of 30 to 40. This is called pagination, right? I want from 30 to 40. So what I can do is query.set first result, you can say. Just like this here. See, this is given for criteria API. Query.set first result 40, max results to 10. Then I will get from 40 to 50. Right? Pagination can be done by using this way. Set max results, set first result.
Now, the first time you got that method. Now, how do you call it for the next step?
That's what. You have to say then, first you got 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Then you had set again, suppose if you are calling from a request or so, then you had set again, set first result as 10, sorry, first result as 11, max result as 10. Again you will get 10 to 20.
Once again the call goes from UI and calling to that and submit search. I'll get first 10 results. Now I'll click on page 2. At that time once again the call goes to the DB and this will get the results of.
Now if you are saying create query and firing, it will get it. It will go to the DB and get it. It's just like in query, you will say from this to this. Just like you want from this to this column, this row to this row, that's all. It's going to database, but it is fetching only some that number of rows. In Oracle you will use row ID, right? Row ID to get it from 10th row to 20th row. It is similar to that, right?
So, whenever you call query.set max result, you use the
Set max result and you have to say query.list. Whenever you say query.list, the query will go to the database and get it, right? And in Hibernate, there are 2 levels of caching. First level caching is nothing but session. So once you open session, whatever operations you do, that will give you the objects inside the session. They will be in first level cache. And there is something called as second level cache, where we can configure a query cache also. In second level caching, there are various types of cachings again, which we will discuss tomorrow anyway. Just I wanted to introduce here, there is something called as a query cache region. If we enable query caching, results of the query also will be cached in second level cache, right? So second time, it will not go to the database if it is already, if the rows are already present inside the cache. Okay, tomorrow we will talk about all the fetching strategies and also caching. Next, how to specify named parameter. See this query? Item. Let's assume that item is an entity. From item where item.description like, where item.description like colon search again. This is nothing but named parameter colon search. Now, if such is a query, how to replace this named parameter search? There should not create query. On that I have said set string, the name of the named parameter, the value. Right? This is how to replace the named parameters. And see here, another query I have given example. There are 2 named parameters. One is colon search and one is min date. Right? Description, item.description is a string and date is a date object. Right? To see, session not create query this query dot set string, search is a string, so set string, but min date is a date. So set date. Here you can say just java.util.date. You need not use java.sql.date. If you are using plain JDBC, you need to convert java.util.date to java.sql.date. But here Hibernate will take care of conversion. You can just specify the java.util.date. So here I am showing you how to set according to the type. If it is string, set string. If it is date, you can call set date. These are to set the value for named parameters.
I have passed this query string. Now what does the query string? Only from item where item description, that's what will be there. And then we have to what?
Query string.
Down one. See, you have said query queue is equal to query string. Session dot create query query string.
Query string, yes.
So this query string contains only from item where item description like that.
Plus.
Plus, so we have to set it separately, sir.
No, this is a whole string, so I just use Java concatenation.
Okay.
I could have written the same line, but I can explain it.
Fine, but now I'm asking you why you are setting separately this search and date. It will not be in the query string. What is this query string now?
Query string is just a variable. I can directly session.create query. Here only I can write everything.
That's full.
I can write everything here. Just to make it very different. I wrote a string. This is having the query actually. I could have written the same query in double quotes here.
No.
From item where item description is equals to search.
But why we have to separately set this search string
No,
and
if you are
leave
setting
it?
from UA, then
Yeah, that's
our
what.
idea would be that you are sending a
See, you want to set it dynamically, right? In JDBC also you have, if you want to fire statement and prepare statement. When using prepare statement, you use question marks, and then later you will set the value for question marks. If you are using question mark, those are called as positional parameters. According to position, you will set 0, 1, 2, right? They are positional parameters. Here we are using named parameters. We are just giving a name and then again setting it. The value for this name, before firing a query, I have to set the value and then I add the query.list. Then I will get the result of this query. If you can explain exactly. Positional parameters also can be used. Just see. Okay, this is an example of positional parameters, just like in prepared statement. I will go back. See here, positional statements. Item date description like question mark and item date like question mark. Here I am setting 0 for description and 1 for date. You can use both, but which do you prefer? Named parameters, because if I am having say 10 question marks in this big query, I may sometimes miss the order. It may cause a different result, right? So we always prefer named parameters. The earlier approach was better, right? Now any doubts in this? Okay, is it fine? Is it fine? Okay, I will show you different ways of setting it. Now see here, see this query first. Item, first understand the context here before seeing this query. Item is a class and user is a class, right? It's like this. Okay, just I'll run it on, write it on the rate and write it here. Here item is like this. Item is a class and user is a class. One item is having private, user, seller. One item is having one seller and one user may purchase many items. So here private set of items. One user has many items. What is it? Is it a from item side? If I say, is it a many to one relationship? One item has one user, and one user may have many. This is a one to many relationship. Now assuming this relationship, item has a seller. Seller means is of type user. It is not a simple type. It is not simple type like string or date. It is of type entity. It's an entity type, right? So now see the query. from item where item dot seller, it is not a simple primitive type like string or date, it is an entity, is equals to colon seller. Now this has to be replaced by an entity, right? So that is why I am saying set entity is a user object, right? So HQL is an object oriented query language. So we always think in terms of objects, right? Now how to write the same query here? I want one product is having one supplier, right? Now I want the product to be selected by using supplier. Select p dot name from product p where p dot supplier is equals to colon supplier. See the query? How is it generated? It is using the foreign key, right? Product is having a foreign key called supplier ID. When I am writing, when I am thinking as an object oriented developer, I always think like with objects. This will be converted to an SQL query which is comparing the foreign keys. Product is having a foreign key which is compared here, right? So suppose now if I set the value for supplier object, it will get the supplier ID and pass it here in the query, right? Any doubts? If you are passing the supplier object you are passing, it need not be in any persistent state. It will just pick the value of supplier ID and then use that inside the query, that's it. No, you need to set the supplier object there in the query. Automatically from that object it will pick the supplier ID and pass it here for the question mark. It need not be in persistent state. It is just for setting the relationship. Okay. Next thing, see here. For setting an entity, we use set entity. For setting string, set string. For setting date, set date. There is a very generic way of setting all. In this query, I have item.seller is an entity and item.description is a string, right? I am setting in a generic way. There is a method in create query called set parameter. Parameter name, the value and its type. Seller is of the hibernate.entity, right? But whereas description DSC is a parameter name value and it is of the string. So this is a very generic way of setting the parameter. You can use either set string, set date or set entity, or you can use set parameter and specify these three parameters. You can use set parameter method and specify these three parameters. Any doubts? Next, there is another way of setting the named parameters. See this query? It is having two named parameters, seller and description. I created a dummy item object where I have set a seller and a description, and then I am using session.create query, is a query, dot set properties of this item. So what it will do, it will copy the variable seller of item here and description here, right? So in this case, the named parameter name should be same as the instance variable of item, then only it will work. This is another way of setting the named parameters, right? Just check any doubts. Next, positional parameters I already told you. You can use question marks inside the queries and set according to the positions, right? see here, we can set query hints. Means, okay, before you understand about query hints, you need to understand one thing. As I said, suppose in a session, I opened a session, I call session.save and I saved 5 entities. Will the insert query be fired immediately? No. I said insert queries will be fired before commit, right? But now I am telling, I am changing my statement. Let us exactly understand. I fired session.save 5 times, right? And then I am firing a query, select query on the same table. Before I fire a select query, all the inserts will be executed, then only select query will be fired. So, insert queries or update queries will be fired just before a query, select query is being executed. Otherwise, if it is not fired, you may not get the exact result, right? So, you understand now, queries, insert queries or update queries or delete queries, DML queries will be executed either at the commit of transaction or whenever you say session.flush explicitly or just before firing the select query, right? So, before firing the select query, a session will be flushed or not? Automatically. Yes, session will be flushed, right? Now, see here, before firing the query, you are setting the hints also. Flush mode.commit means what? It will commit, it will flush everything to the database. There are a lot of flush modes which we will see. This flush mode tells that the query, the session has to be flushed before firing the queries. There are various other flush modes which will say no need to flush. Suppose before firing this query you don't want to flush the objects which are there in the session till now. You can say flush mode.none means before firing the select queries, session will not be flushed. Okay, so you can specify the query hint flush mode one thing, and also cache mode.ignore. There is another query hint called set cache mode.ignore. Say set cache mode. There are various cache modes. By default, if I fire a query, the result of the query, is it cached or not? It's cached, right? If I say cache mode.ignore, the result of this query will not be cached, right? Simple. Flush mode is by default, I think, commit only. If you don't want to flush, you can say flush mode.none. Okay, and like this, you can set timeout also. What is the meaning of this query in timeout? If the query is taking more than 60 seconds, it will throw an exception automatically, right? And also set fetch size. What is the meaning of this set fetch size? Just think for something. I am firing the query from an item. Let's assume that I have 1000 items inside my database. Without fetch size, if I fire, I will get all the 1000 items. So 1000 items will be loaded inside the memory, which is not good, right? Then, if I set fetch size as 50, what will happen? Only first 50 will be fetched. Whenever I say query.list, first 50 will be fetched. Query.list is returning me a list of objects, right? Hibernate can proxy the collections, is it? It will be returning as a proxy. So whenever I am trying to access 50 first element, that proxy what will do? It will go to database and fetch next 50. So we can set the fetch size to improve the performance. So in this query API, before firing the query, you can set the fetch size also, right? Any doubts? No, only for this query. See, session dot create query is returning a query object. On that query object, you are setting the fetch size. Only for that query. In this session, you can create 10 queries. Only for this query, the fetch size will be applicable, whatever we are setting right now. This is not at session level, it is at a query level.
So this coding will be the diverse operation.
Yes. This is dynamically. But you can set it also in XML also. Yeah, you can set it in XML also. Right? I will show you how to fire named queries. There I will show you how to set the timeout also there in XML.
If it says fetch size is 50, then when is the next code is 55?
When I try to access 51st element.
If you are iterating and associating.
Of course, whenever we are iterating through the list, we will get a list. Query.list will give me the list. If I try to access 51st element, which is not there in the list, it will automatically go to the database. Okay. Next, what is this lock mode? Now, whenever I am firing the query, I will be firing the query in a transaction, right? My application might be having 1000 concurrent users, right? Let's assume that I am writing a query for railway reservation. Did you go to indianrailway.gov.in? Okay. Okay. I went inside it, and suppose if I try to book a seat, will it take a lock? Will it be available to before I process the credit card information? I will take some time to process my credit card. I will select the seats, and then my processing credit card will take some time, right? At that time, is rows locked or not? Will they be visible to other users? It will lock for some 5 minutes or so. In this 5 minutes, if you didn't process your credit card, they will be released. But that rows will be locked for some 5 minutes or whatever according to their application, right? So now, whenever you are fetching the data, maybe sometimes you want to get a lock on that rows also, right? Lock mode says whether you want to get an explicit lock or not, right? So in transaction management, there are two ways in Hibernate. Hibernate provides two ways of concurrency control. When many concurrent users are accessing the same row of data, to for solving those concurrency issues, Hibernate provides two strategies: optimistic concurrency control and pessimistic concurrency control, which we will be seeing tomorrow. In pessimistic, I am a pessimist, means I believe that something wrong will happen always, right? So I want an explicit lock. If you want a pessimistic locking, then you will explicitly take a lock. There are various lock modes which has different meanings. So whenever you want a lock on a particular row, you will specify the lock mode, right? Now here, for this query, I am specifying the lock mode dot upgrade. We will talk about all the lock modes tomorrow while talking about transactions. Lock mode dot upgrade means I am firing this query for changing the items. Means I want an explicit lock, right? All the rows which are result of this query will be locked by Hibernate. Hibernate will lock them, right? So that even concurrent users cannot access them, right? Lock on the database. On database table, on those particular rows, row wise locked. On whatever results for this query, they will be locked. Yeah, whatever result of this query will be locked. Means you are telling to Hibernate that I am firing the query to upgrade it. I want to change this, so that if you are behaving pessimistically when you are locking, which is not a good practice. Locking will reduce the performance, right? Tomorrow I will talk about different strategies like optimistic and pessimistic, right? So just understand lock mode will tell some query hint whether to lock or not. Fetch mode will tell what is the fetch size, right? Like that you can specify hints also like this, right? Needers. Now once we create a query object, query.list will give me the list. Okay. Now see here. Coming here. This is an example which I gave. Create query from bit. I am firing some table on the table. I am firing some query on the bit table, bit entity. This query may result, let's assume 10 rows, right? What is this query? See here, from bit table, bit B, order by bit amount descending. So highest bit will be always on the top, right? It is ordering by amount descending. So highest bit is on the top, right? Now on this, I am setting max results to 1. So will I get the highest bit? Right. So when I set max results to 1, I am expecting only one row, one object, right? So now if I say set max results, this max results will return a query object. Then query.list will return me what? List. List with only one object. Again what I will do? I will extract that object from the list, which is painful. So when I am expecting only one object as the result of this query, what I can do is I can call a method on the query called dot unique result. Okay, unique result will return an object. You can just typecast this object directly, right? Whenever you are expecting only one object as a result of your query, you can call the method called query dot unique result, which will return an object. If you say query dot list, the list, you will get a list with only one object in this case, right? So understand when to use query dot list, when to use query dot unique result. Suppose I don't do this, set max results to 1, session dot create query will return me query object. On that query object I am calling unique result. Assume that this query is returning more than one row. You are calling dot unique result, right? It will throw an exception. So you have to be very careful. Whenever you are using dot unique result on the query should return only single row. Otherwise, unique result method will throw an exception. So better always, whenever before calling unique result, you can set the max results to 1, so they can get it. See this query. Just see this query here. I am having an entity called category. From category, see where c dot name is. Some query. Just don't worry about what is the query. This may result in 100 rows. Let's assume, right? If I say query object, this is a query object, right? Query object dot list, I'll get list of 100 objects, right? But will those all 100 objects be loaded inside memory automatically? When once it's a query dot list, if that query is resulting in 100 rows, 100 objects will be created in memory and they will be put inside persistence context. Yes, right. But instead of it, let us see the another strategy. If I say query dot iterate, instead of saying query dot list, I can say query dot iterate. What will happen is, once I say query dot iterate, it will fire a query which will fetch only the primary keys of the qualifying rows. It will fetch only the primary keys, right? And once I start iterating by using this iterator, I'll be going through each entity inside that list. Then it will see whether this entity is in the first level cache. If not there, it is in the second level cache. If not there, then only it will fire the query, right? So sometimes based upon your scenarios, performance can be increased by using iterator instead of using query.list, which will fetch all the data into memory. Query.list will fetch all the data into memory, but query.iterate will get only the primary keys, right? If necessary, then only iterator will bring the actual object from the database. Otherwise, it will not bring. Right? Any doubts? Lazy is equals to proxy that can be done for associations. Oh, lazy is equals to proxy is same. Huh? For many to one association, lazy is equals to proxy will get only primary key values. But lazy is equals to false. If I say it legally load all the object, if I say lazy is equals to proxy, it will get only primary keys. And if I say lazy is equals to no proxy, is it not same like lazy is equals to false? It will bring all the data. If I say lazy is equals to true means it will not load, it will get the proxies. But the proxy will not be even having the primary. What is that? Iterator. If I say iterator, first will bring all the primary keys. Then according to necessity, it will fire the query and get the data if necessary. Depending upon your situation, you can decide whether to use iterator or list. Now cursors. In JDBC, we have result sets, scrollable result sets, right? We can make the result set to go back and go front and back also. Scrollable result set. Scroll insensitive and scroll sensitive. Right? Whenever you are preparing a statement, connection dot create statement or prepare statement, you can pass parameters like scroll insensitive or scroll sensitive, right? Means at JDBC level also you are getting the scrollable result sets, right? Now what is the meaning of the scrollable result set and why do we use it? Let us try to understand. If I am using plain JDBC, forget about Hibernate for some time now. If I am using plain JDBC and if I get a scrollable result set, what I will just get is a reference to a cursor which is present on the database set, right? While creating stored procedures on a database, you can create a cursor, right? Cursor will be pointing to the result, and cursor is always on the database set, right? If you are using scrollable result sets in Java side, you will be having a reference to that cursor, right? So if you are using scrollable result set, the result will not be brought to the memory. We are just having a point to the cursor which is on the database set, right? What is the advantage now? Suppose if I want only the 10th row in the result, I can make my cursor to directly go to 10th row, right? So that is the advantage if you have a scrollable result. Similar to JDBC scrollable results, you have something called as scrollable results here. Session dot create query dot scroll. If you call, you will get scrollable results. And if you say cursor dot first, it will return you the first element of that first cursor of the result. Dot last means you get last. And if the cursor is pointing to say fifth element, if you say get, it will give the element at which the cursor is pointing to right now. And the cursor dot next will move the cursor. Scroll 3 means what it will do? If suppose cursor is pointing to 5th row, scroll 3 means it will point to 8th row now. Like that, by using cursors, scrollable results, you can make your you can scroll over the result sets. Internally, this will be using JDBC scrollable result sets only. Right? This is also one of the facility. If you want to directly access the rows directly on your result set, right? And here also, while calling scroll, you can set the scroll mode also, whether it can scroll forward only or backward only or everything. Right? Okay. Next important thing, whenever in our DAO layer we will be writing a lot of SQL queries. We generally don't hard code the queries inside the program. Generally what we do, we will write all the queries inside some XML file or properties file and we will try to get them, right? Here also in Hibernate, you can create a named query. How to create a named query? See this now. In your hbm.xml file, I'll just show you here. hbm.xml, I'll open one of the hbm.xml, any one of the hbm.xml. See here, inside class tag, you have a query tag where you can give a name to the query and you can write the query inside the query tag, right? You have a query tag inside the class and outside the class also you have a query tag. I can give some name here, right? So what is the difference between query tag inside class and query tag inside outside class? Okay. Now if I write query tag inside class, suppose if the name of the query I gave it as X and here I gave it as Y. The query which I write inside one of the HBM file here, then the full name of this query will be qualified name like com.infinite.desc.x. This will be the actual name of the query if I write the query tag inside class tag. If I write this query outside of the class tag, the query name which we can refer will be exactly same, right? So what I mean to tell is, I can create query tags inside hbm.xml files, right? And inside that we can give a name to each query and write the queries there only. We can give named parameters if we require, like this. We can give a name parameter. See, query tag inside query tag from item where item description is equals to like, right? If you place a named query definition inside class element instead of its root, it's prefixed with the name of the entity class. Like example, find descriptions by name. If I place this inside a class tag, then the whole qualified name will be like this. The whole package name, right? So now tell me, suppose in my application if I have 20 hbm.xml files, right? In each hbm.xml file, I will write some query tags. Will they be globally accessible or only to that class? Yeah. Wherever we create a query tag, even inside the class tag also, the queries will be globally visible, right? You can create a query tag anywhere, they are globally visible, right? So once you define a query tag like this, while firing, what you can do is we can say session dot get named query. Previously we were saying create query and specifying the query itself. Here we are saying get named query, the name of the query, and then it's having some named parameter and setting the value, I can find it. So generally in Hibernate we use named queries like this. Okay? Any doubts? See, DAC, this is a named query. DAC is a named parameter. I am setting the value before firing. I have set the value for it. Set string. No, nothing. Okay. I think you asked, right? How to set the query size, like fetch size and timeout. Generally, what we do, we write the query inside XML. And when writing the query inside XML, in the query tag itself, we can specify cache mode, format, fetch size, read only true, timeout, everything. All the query needs here only. Okay. We finished about various ways of using the query API, org.hibernate.query API. Now let us concentrate for some time about queries, various ways of queries. Now see here, this type of queries we have written already. From item simply, from item as is alias. Even without as also we can write everything as simplest query. Then next, These are called polymorphic queries. The queries on superclasses are called as polymorphic queries. Now if I say from java.lang.object, what will happen? It will get all the entities which are present in the database. Our memory will get, we may get sometimes out of memory exception also if our database is so rich. It's so dangerous. Okay. What is it? Here. Yeah, you can give where condition. From building details where you can give. Right? Now, restrictions, how to apply restrictions? Restrictions means conditions in where clause. Just let us see. I have given an example for each and every one. Where from bit, where bidded amount between 1 and 10. It's just like same like in SQL also we use the same between. Bidded amount greater than 100, same. You.email in, this is also same like in SQL. Email is null, is null, is not null. Same as like in SQL. Here also by using like and not like, same like in SQL, right? And using and in where condition, and using or in where condition, right? Now only difference is here. If you can observe, item I where I dot successful bit, this is not a column, this is an entity. You can compare by entities only. Now this will give me what? What will this give me? Tell what all items it will give? It will give all the items where at least one successful bit is there, which is having a successful bit. Yes, one item will be having one successful bit. It will give me all the items which is having successful bit, where successful bit is not null. Here it is like querying on object. This is the only one which is not similar like SQL. We are querying on objects, right? Okay, and one more thing, is not empty. What does this give? I dot bits. One item is having many bits. In this case, this is scenario. One item has many bits. So bits is a collection. I dot bits is a collection. You can find expressions on collections where I dot bits is not empty. Means I will get an item which is having at least one bit, right? And also you can use it like this from item I, a member of. Just check the syntax. Now just see the syntax. This is printing all the items which are having at least one bit, right? Similarly, can you write a query here? Can you print all the suppliers for which at least one product is there? In my database, I have two suppliers, right? I have two suppliers. I have inserted two suppliers, X and Y. But if I see products, only 1001 is having products. 1002 is not having products, right? Now I want to write a query which will return me all the suppliers which are having at least one product, right? As an object-oriented developer, we will just write like this using collection. It's just simple as possible. But here the query, if you have to write the same query in SQL, this is how we have to write it in complex way. These are the predefined functions. Upper will cast the string to uppercase, concat is for concatenating, substring, trim. They are almost similar to the ones you have in your normal database. These are the functions which you can use in SQL. right? See the way I am using it here. For collection, I want the item which is having at least 3 bits. Size of the collection, see where I am using, where size of item bits greater than 3, right? I want item where it is having at least 3 bits, right? So I can use it. It's a very complex query which we can write very simply. Let us do the same here, where size of s dot products greater than 0, right? I run it. I got it. Greater than or equals to means I'll get both products. Yes. 1001 and 1002, right? Here you can see the values 1002. This is 1001. See how complex is this query? We can write it very simply by using SQL. Okay, next. These are the columns, the functions. And now ordering. We already saw how to order by. Order by, this is exactly similar like in SQL. Order by some column name ascending, descending. Now projections. What do I mean by projections? See this query. From item I comma bit B, I will be getting the columns of both items as well as B bit, right? So when I file query dot list, I will be getting a list, right? That list will contain what? An array. An array. First element of the array is nothing but item. Second element of the array is nothing but. See, I am iterating. I got the iterator. Query dot list dot iterator. I am iterating. When I am iterating, see, I am getting an object array. First element of this array is item. Second element is B. Right. Item I bit B comma XX something, but you will be getting object array accordingly. Now see here, this is another projection. I am firing select from item. I am getting I dot ID, I dot description, I dot initial price. When I fire this query, I will be getting a list of object array. For each row, I will get one array. First element of that array will be ID. Second element will be description. Third element will be initial price. So, if you are selecting particular columns, then we are using projections. This is how to use projections. Distinct results, same like in SQL. Distinct. And I showed you some functions already. You can use those functions directly. See now, current underscore date will give you the current date. But whereas in SQL it is sysdate, right? You are using Oracle, similar to sysdate. You can use functions also directly. Like here I am giving an example of how to use upper, which will present in the upper format. Joinings. Okay, there are two types of joins. Inner join, outer join. In outer join again two types. Left outer join, right outer. Now what is the meaning of inner join? Inner join. Okay. See now, okay, take this example, item and bit. One item has many bits, so item ID came as a foreign key here. If I say inner join between these two item and bit, it will compare the primary key of item ID with the foreign key item ID here. Inner join means it will match the keys, right? It will give only the matching rows, right? But outer join means left outer join. Suppose if I say left outer join, all of left, but wherever there is no matching for the right, it will give nulls on the right side. right? So inner join means inner join will be always on the primary key of the left side with foreign key of the other right side, or vice versa, right? So now how to fire joins? Select I dot star comma B dot star from item I, inner join field P on I dot item I is equals to B dot, right? Now let us try to fire the same query using HQL here. Inner join from product P comma supplier yes. I will say join inner join on will it work like this? It should not work like this. You should never think as a table. See now how it works. From product P join, sorry, you want from supplier. I have to write like this. From supplier, one supplier is having many products, right? From supplier S join S dot. This is how to create a join. Whenever there is a foreign key relationship, definitely both the we will be having variables on each of the side, right? So we have to use joins like this. It's very easy using SQL. From supplier S join S dot products. It will automatically join supplier with product on primary key automatically, right? Don't think like tables. Don't think like combining from product P comma supplier S where product and all. Now join, I just specified join. Is it inner join or outer join? By default, if I specify join, it is inner join only. Now if I say left join, I need not specify outer. Left means outer only. See? Left outer join. Huh? Self join. Self join means what? How? Exactly. On the same table, tell me an example. Okay, you have supplier and products.
No, only supplier. We are trying to use the ID to retrieve the row.
Actually, you should have a reference. One supply in the class also you should have a reference. Yeah, you can use on same table also. You can join on same table also. But then supplier will be having a variable which references the self join, right? You have to use those that way, right? Or can I use like this? From product P join P dot supplier. Sorry, P dot. I selected the other one. Supplier. And if I say left, same. So when there is an association, we can join like this in HQL, not like a table. You cannot say, you should not say from product P comma join supplier S. In objects itself, we will be having variables which are representing those relationships, right? You have to use those representations, right? Now, this is explicit join, is it? Explicitly we are joining these two tables. Now I will show you implicit joins. What do I mean by implicit join? Now see here, I want to print supplier name of this product. One product has one supplier, right? I want to print supplier name. So select P dot supplier dot name. This resulted in implicit join. Actually, I am not using a where clause at all. In from clause, I am not specifying the joins at all. This is called as implicit join. It is joining to supplier and also product in the generate SQL query, right? So we have seen how to use inner join, outer join, same word like what I have said, and implicit join, SQL join options. These are the various ways of join options. I just showed you now implicit association join. We'll see examples for each of them. From user U, let's assume one user is having one address, right? So from user U, where U dot home address dot city is equals to Bangkok, will this result in implicit join?
Yes.
See here also, this also will result in implicit join. Select distinct U dot home dot city, just like whatever I showed right now. And again here also I am using from bit B, where bit dot item dot description. Wherever it is like nested, bit dot item dot description. Wherever you see nested fields in the query, it is implicit join. It will result in an implicit join. Join expressed in from clause. Just like what have I said. Item I join I dot bits. This is the one which we already saw. See here, this is the join which we expressed in from column, right? Same thing what I showed. And this is another way. Select I from item I in I dot bits. Both are exactly same. You can use in also.
I don't discuss for upper or lower comparison. Can you use dot to upper Java function?
No, upper function is there, no?
Apart from that, can you use Java function?
No Java. If you want to compare, you can use where upper of I dot description is there. Upper function is already there in SQL. Upper of I dot description. Next. Outer join I already showed you. Either you can use left outer join, right outer. Same. Okay. Now here, very important thing. This is one of the fetching strategy which I will discuss tomorrow also again. Suppose if I say from item without using fetch, from item left join bits. I am saying from item I only. I will be getting list of items only. If I say query dot list, I will be getting list of items. Now by default, collections are loaded lazily. Every item will be having a bit. Now I will be getting list of items. For those list of items, if I start iterating, those bits, like document collections, are they loaded eagerly? If I remove this fetch, no. Bits will be a proxy. The collections will be proxied. Now, already we saw, if I want to disable lazy fetching, what I need to do in configuration? In set tag, I can specify lazy is equals to false. But at the configuration level, if I say, it is for all the queries performed whenever I say from item. But I can specify eager fetching in queries like this. Left join fetch I dot bits. Now, whenever it is getting items, it will eagerly fetch all the bits also, right? This is an alternative to making lazy is equals to false in the XML. That is not good because every time it will be eagerly fetched. Now if you are using this one, we can selectively in the query, if we want, we can selectively enable eager fetching by using fetch join. Okay? Any doubts? Theta style joins. From user comma category you can give like this, like I said, from item I comma bits, I'll be getting all the columns, right? And when using theta style joins, it's not inner joins. Inner join means it will be comparing primary key of one table with foreign key of other tables. Now these are not inner joins. You can compare whatever columns you like, right? These are the normal joins, or what you call as natural joins. Yeah, see. Now in this query, from item I comma user u, where I dot self is equals to u. Generally, if I am writing SQL query, I will compare primary keys. Here I am comparing objects. I dot self is a object. Here I am comparing objects. Right? This is also objects. Right? Reporting queries. Queries where you need to perform like count, sum. This is an example of how to use the functions like count, sum, minimum, maximum, count of distinct. Just like in SQL, not much difference. Grouping, already we discussed about this. This is select u dot last name, count of u, group by last name, just like SQL, we discussed this in the first one. Group by, this is another example. And here group by, okay, here also is group by. There are 3 examples. Group by using having clause. This also we saw first one. Now, one more important thing lastly. If I say select, forget about this new and all. If I say select bit dot item dot id count and all, I will be getting, this is nothing like projection, right? If I remove the first new item bit of summary, it is just like projection. I will be getting, once I say query dot list for this query, I will be getting list of array. Array size will be 3 now, right? But I don't want list of array. What I will do is I will create a class called item bit summary. Okay? Then I can, in the query itself, I can do like this: select new item bit summary of this one. Now I will be getting list of this objects. That is not an entity. Item bit summary is not an entity. This you are just writing for your convenience, so that you will get list of these objects.
So if I do an object of the class dot some item value, I can get the value.
In Java, you will be getting list of item bit summary. You can iterate over it. You will get each item bit summary for each row. Yeah. In item bit summary, you need to have this constructor definitely. Yes. It's just like calling that constructor.
What is the LHS for the statement?
No, this is a query.
Yeah. What
Session dot create query. Session dot create query dot list. Dot list means I'll get a list of these objects, item bit summary.
So this will return a query, then I need to query out.
Yeah, session dot create query, you have to pass this query. Query dot list, you get list of item bit summary. Last, you can use subselects also like this. From user you where I can let them. And also, you can use like this. From item I where 100 greater than all, or any, or some, or in. Just see this carefully, all, in, any and some. Quantifications we use. Collect B dot amount means I may get lot of amounts, right? Now I am saying from item where this condition is satisfied by any of this. This may result 10. If this condition is satisfied by any of this, then item will be present. All, some, or in. So that's about HQLs. And here are some more things. Same things whatever I discussed earlier, the same.